Alright, today we are shooting a creek update. So people have asked to see what the creek looks like over time, and that's a fair question. So we're here, it has been 10 months since I put this in. We're gonna do a little bit of maintenance and a little bit of discussion. I'm gonna show you guys the pros and cons over the last 10 months, how it handled through the winter and stuff I ran into, some issues I had, and we're gonna talk about those. And while I'm doing that, I'm gonna get this thing running again, because as you can see behind me, it's currently off. So it is currently January 23rd. This thing has been off since about Christmas, maybe New Year's. The pump's not dead. I didn't run into any like major deal breaker issues on it. We just had all the leaves dump in it within a month, and then we actually had like 2 inches of snow for more than a week. And between the snowfall and the leaf buildup, it was starting to leak actually. So the water level was dropping really fast. And I'm pretty sure it was this leaf buildup in some of these areas. Since the edges are real short, the water was just getting dammed up and overflowing between this, again, the snow and the leaves. So I just turned it off. So we've had a dry creek bed for a couple of weeks here. So the floating heart water plant I have in here is still alive. And last year it lived through the cold season in the mud, so this thing should grow back. These plants are still alive. They just die out over the winter, and they should start growing back real soon. They had big, beautiful flowers in the fall. This creeping thyme, as you can see, is growing over these rocks and into the water, which I really like, because when we got them, they were only like, they were barely anything at all. And now they're like 18 inches across from end to end, which is really cool. I suspect there may have been a leak over here this summer. While we were in a bit of a heat wave, so I was losing most of my water to evaporation, we did have one pumpkin plant right here that was growing way better than the rest. And I think it's because I had a bit of a leak here. So I may have to investigate this when it's running again and see if there's not like a hole in the liner or something like that. But that's a whole nother project on its own. What's up, kiddo?
I'm going to try to help you.
Oh, awesome. Can you pick up the leaves?
Sure.
Thank you. Oh. So let's talk about algae. Most of what I know about algae I learned in the last 10 months. This is the first pond I've ever tried taking care of. From what I gather, algae grows best in the water when there's lots of sunlight. This one was doing really well at the beginning because I had that big lily pad in it that kept a lot of the sunlight out and soaked up a lot of the nutrients that the algae needed. But a raccoon ravaged my pond, shredded my lily pad, ate both my goldfish, and knocked some rocks around. So when the lily pad died, I lost a lot more water to evaporation, and the algae completely took over. So I put in some water hyacinths, and that helped. The lily pad at the top got a little bigger, and that helped a lot. And then the season kind of faded away. We went into fall, and then the algae died out naturally. This year I'm hoping to get a lot more floating water plants down to the bottom to help clamp down on the algae early in the season. So what have I learned? Algae growth can be controlled by planting more water plants in the water that I actually like, because they pull the nutrients and the sunlight away from the algae. So I'm going to be putting lots more water plants in it this year. Try to keep up with pulling the leaves out of it, because if you fall behind on that, the leaves will create dams that help the water leak out, and you don't want the water to leak out because then you have to fill it more often. I need more space for my fish to hide. I had one little piece of flagstone in there that just got knocked over by a raccoon because it's not very deep water, so I need to do a little more research on how to properly keep fish in here. And finally, something I relearn every year is your yard is never really done. There's always something else to add, something else to maintain, something to fix. I'm gonna finish filling this thing so I can turn it on and let the water clear up. It's already looking better, and we can have this thing running for the spring. So if you guys were curious about this, now you've seen it. If I get it looking really good again, I might do another follow-up video in like the middle of summer to see how the algae's doing. If you guys would like to see that, let me know below. Otherwise, subscribe to my channel and follow along. We have a ton of landscape projects planned for this summer and even more water features. So we'll see you there. Peace. One final thing that's not really specific to water features, but it's so hard in January to know how good your yard looks because everything kind of looks bad. It's January. So like nothing's in bloom, nothing's really growing. How much of this is actually dead and how much of it is going to spring up in a month? I guess we'll find out.